مستغل مستغل مستغل. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Mimi's Makeup. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make this amazing hat. It's a ribbed pattern hat. It's so easy, especially for beginners. So if you are a beginner and you wanna do something fancy and something looks beautiful and make yourself warm in this cold winter, this will be so easy and so beautiful project to make. So I'm gonna show you everything and explain everything in details. I hope you like this video, and if you wanna see me how and know how I made this beautiful ribbed pattern hat, please keep watching. Hi everyone, welcome back. So let's start our tutorial. As you can see, I'm gonna make the same bunny or the same hat. So as you can see, it's ribbed pattern. Is so amazing. Looks small, but actually it fits your head perfectly and makes your head warm, and as you can see, really stretchy and really beautiful. So I'm gonna make the same hat or the same pattern but with another yarn. So I'm gonna use this yarn for this tutorial, but as you can see, my cat just destroyed everything about this yarn. So I'm gonna show you the details that you need to know about the yarn in this one. So it's the same one, it's Himalaya Everyday Big, and these are the stuff that you need to know about it. It's 100 gram, it's 80 meters or 87 yards, and it's bulky 6. So it's very important to know this stuff if you're gonna use another type of yarn. So it's bulky 6, as you can see here. This one is a really decent one. This one was very destroyed, like it was everywhere on the ground from my cat, so sorry for this. So I really wanted to show you everything on a really nice intact label so you know the details. And what I'm gonna use for this yarn is 6mm like circular needle. So this is what I'm gonna use for this tutorial. So let's get into it and start doing our hat. Okay guys, let's start our tutorial, and as you can see, this is the yarn I'm gonna use in this tutorial, and I'm gonna take a really nice tail for it because I need to make about 50 chains or 50 stitches, but it will be stitched here. It's not crochet, it's like a knitting, so it's 50 stitches. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, the first stitch is just like that to make one to like start our work, and I'm gonna use one side of the needle to have it inside and make it fix it in and make sure it's like nice and perfect on the needle. And I have my tail downwards and my connecting yarn upwards, and I have my two fingers just like that between the two strands and hold the rest of the strands with my fingers, as you can see, just like that. As you can see, I have kind of a heart shape of the yarn. It's really important to start that way because how you hold your yarn will be so easy for you next to make your stitches. So again, I'm gonna show you again. So as you can see, after holding, I have like 4 strands of yarn right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold the stitch with my hand. Always hold the final stitch with your finger, so it's not slipping out of the needle. And again, I'm gonna take the needle underneath the first strand and just go around the third strand and take it from in between, just like this, and pull and make the stitch perfect on the needle. Showing you again, hold the yarn and again take the needle underneath and just around the third strand and in between, back in between, and just pull the yarn and make sure it's perfect. It's not too tight and it's not too loose around the needle. Showing you again the same thing. Okay, hold it and just around and in between. It's really easy actually to do it, but if it's your first time, it looks a little bit difficult, but as you do it, it will become more easier and easier. And now I'm showing you on the the normal speed how I do it. So I need to make a 50, and you always need to make an even number of stitches to have this nice ribbed pattern, so you don't have like a 2 net or 2 purl stitches between like beside each other. So you need an even number. So I'm gonna make 50 for me. You can increase, you can decrease as you like, but for me 50 is perfect. So now, as you can see, I finished my 50 stitches, and they are in the plastic part of the circular needle, and this is my tail just about to be finished, but thanks God it's not. So I'm gonna hold it in my hand like this, so it's like away from my waist, so it's not like disturbing me. So I have the other needle on my other hand. As you can see, I have all the stitches on my left side because I work on the right side, so I need to take some of the stitches to the right side, because we're gonna work in a circular, so you need some here and some there, some on the left and some on the right, because this circular needle is a little bit bigger than my hat. So I'm just taking the plastic bar just as you saw here and take some of the stitches to the other side, and now I have two sides of stitches, and I'm trying to make a little bit of a space for me so I can work. And as you can see, a little bit tight. Always the first row of knitting is a tight kind of a row, so it takes some effort to finish it, but once you finish it, everything becomes easier and easier. So as you can see, I have my two sides. So as you can see, the first two stitches here, I'm gonna take one to the other side. So I'm gonna take that left one to my right side, and I'm gonna take the right stitch to the left side. So it's kind of a crisscross kind of a change. So I will have kind of a like an infinity beginning, so you will never know after we finish everything and weave in the ends. You will never know where this hat starts and where it ends. So that's the point. So you take the first and last stitch to the other sides. That really helps to make everything look even and beautiful. So as you can see, I'm trying to take this one to the other side. It's a little bit tight because, as I told you, the first row is always so tight and so difficult to work with, but once you finish it, it will be so easy. Here actually I slipped that one because I was focusing on taking that out, so I let it slip, but at the end of this row I'm gonna correct everything, so don't slip it like this. You need to take the right stitch to the left side and the left stitch to the right side and start working. So this was a mistake. I'm gonna correct it at the end of this row. So yeah, that's just a really like big hint I need to say. As you can see, I used the marker to mark the beginning of the row, and it will go with me as I go in multiple rows. It will always be with me because this is the start of each row. So as you can see, I made a net, and now I'm gonna make a purl. Okay, so I'm gonna explain it again. So as you can see, I take the yarn to the other side away from me to make the net, and just have the needle just like that, and yarn over and take it just like that, and take for the purl. I'm gonna take it towards me and work in that way, and I'm gonna keep doing this again. I'm gonna go here. It doesn't matter where you go, just go and yarn over and take it out, and again here, yarn over and take it out. It's really easy, really simple. So I'm gonna keep working like this, one net, one purl, one net, one purl, until I finish this row. And actually this is the work that we're gonna do for this ribbed pattern, one net and one purl. Okay, so as you can see, I'm gonna continue doing this until the end of this row. And as you work, you begin to adjust your the rest of your the plastic part of a circular needle, and keep going. This really looks really tight, right? But it's gonna be like easier on the next row. So just keep watching and wait for me in the next row. You're gonna see by yourself. It will be way easier. Okay, so here we go, we are almost there. I'm doing the last 2 stitches. This one was a knit. Now we're gonna make the purl one. So every time we end a row, we're gonna finish with a purl stitch like this. And of course I corrected the mistake that I made before. Okay, and now I'm gonna take my marker with me because it's so important. Don't forget your marker because it's telling me the beginning and the ending of each row. And now I'm gonna start the second row, which is new row. So I'm gonna start with knit stitch, and then I'm gonna make another one, which is purl. Okay, the pattern we're gonna work on this hat is 1 knit 1 purl until we finish our hat, no matter what the numbers of the row. But we're gonna always do 1 knit 1 purl. We always start with knit and we always finish our row with purl. Okay, as you can see, I'm working a little bit more so you can see the difference between 1 row and 2 rows. The pattern will be a little bit obvious in a moment, but as you can see, I'm working 1 purl, 1 knit 1 purl. Okay, and don't ever forget the marker. The marker is like crucial, because if you forget it now, you can see the difference here between 1 row and 2 rows, but as you work more rows, it will be impossible to know the start and the end of your row. So the marker is so important. Keep an eye on your marker as you go, and yeah, it's very important. That's why I always say keep an eye on your marker. The marker is so important. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna work like so many rows like this to finish my ice cap or my hat, just like this. This is the pattern that we're gonna end up with. So now I'm gonna speed up the second row and I'm gonna leave it to see how it goes. And as you can see, the working is so much easier than the first row. As always in knitting, the first row is the hardest row that you work with, but after that, after you finish the first row, beginning the second row or the second round, the work will be so much easier. And if it's your first time using the circular needle with a really long one like this, it will be a little bit annoying, but as you keep going working, it will be so much easier. So as you can see, the pattern begin to be obvious, but will be more obvious on the third row. So I'm gonna keep going and see you at the end of this row to start the beginning of the third row to show you the difference. So stay tuned. So almost there, I just finished my knit stitch, and now the last one is a purl stitch, which is the point. And now I'm taking my marker, don't forget the marker, and now we're starting the third row, which is a knit stitch. Start with a knit stitch and doing another purl stitch. The second one will be a knit stitch and then a purl stitch, and that's the pattern we're gonna work with. And I'm just working like a little bit, like a few stitches to show you the difference between the 2 rows and the 3 rows. So here we go. I finished a little bit of the third row, and as you can see, the pattern began to be a little bit obvious. and as you work will be more obvious, as you saw on the other hat. And we keep going like this, and as you can see, it's so beautiful and so amazing. Of course, this tail will be seamed in inside the pattern itself after we finish, and as you can see, it's so elastic and so nice. So it will look a little bit small after you finish, but as you can see, it's so wide and so amazing. So I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna come back after I finish the rows that I need to show you how to decrease the number of the stitches and to finish everything and make it wearable. So stay tuned. Okay everyone, I'm back after I finished my desired rows, and as you can see, I finished about like 42 rows. It's good for me. You can increase or decrease as you want, but for me 42 is more than enough. So now I'm finishing the last stitch in the last row, and as you know, it will be a purl stitch. And now I'm taking my marker with me. I'm gonna take it within the decreasing because it's important to know the beginning and ending of each row. And the decreasing is really simple. Actually, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take every 2 stitches together and knit them together. So as you can see, I have my first 2 stitches, and I'm gonna take them with me in my needle just like this. And now I'm gonna make a knit stitch simply, and I'm gonna take it like this, like normally, and take both of them out, and that's basically the decreasing. So I'm decreasing 2 stitches to 1, and again I'm gonna take on the next 2 stitches and knit them together to 1 stitch. And that's what we're gonna do the whole row. We're gonna knit every 2 stitches together to make 1 knit stitch. And as we begin with 50 stitches, we're gonna end up with 25 stitches at the end of this row. So this is basically what we're gonna do in the next 2 rows for decreasing. So we're gonna take every 2 stitches together and knit them together to make 1 stitch, and that will help to decrease the number of the stitches. So when we seam everything and finish our hat, it will look so beautiful and so neat. It's not crowded with a lot of stitches, and it will look so beautiful. So that's basically the purpose of decreasing the number of the stitches. So I'm gonna finish this row with you in high speed just like that to show you the work and how it's gonna go. And it will be a little bit like at the end, will be a little bit like harder we work because we're decreasing the number of the stitches. Of course the work will be harder, but as you go, it will you will finish your work. You are finishing your work, so do it and yeah, enjoy the process. So we finished the first row and everything become tougher and harder to work with, and just do the second row. You can finish the second row and stop at this one, but I'm gonna make a third row to decrease the number of the stitches as much as I can. So what I'm gonna do in the next row, which is this one, and as you can see here, I'm doing the same thing. Actually, I'm taking every 2 stitches and knit them together into 1 stitch, so that will help to decrease the number of that 25 stitches to about 13 stitches, because there's one we're gonna leave it without doing anything to it. So that will be enough. But for me, I'm gonna do another row to decrease it to about 8 stitches. That will help to make it more and look more nicer and more neat. But if you can do this, because as you can see, the work will become so harder because it's a rounded or a circle needle. So like adjusting everything, especially if it's your first time to do this, will be so hard. So you can skip the third row, just two rows. It will be more than enough to make everything look beautiful when you seam it. So I'm gonna leave you now to see the whole process, because it's a little bit like hard working thing and there's nothing to explain. I'm gonna see you in a minute after I finish all that to see how I seam my my hat and finish everything and make everything look beautiful. So keep watching and stay tuned to the last step before we finish our hat and enjoy wearing it. Okay guys, we're almost there, and as you can see, I reduced number of my stitches to about 8 stitches, and this is the beautiful number that I need. But if you can't do this to this step, you can stop at the second row. It will be about 13 stitches, would be more than enough to finish everything and look so beautiful. So for me, actually, I finished one skein for this hat. If you want a larger hat or a hat for a man, I think you will need another skein, but for me that's more than enough, and I still have a really nice tail to finish everything. So actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a tapestry needle and enter the yarn inside of it and take my stitches to one side of my needle, and just then take the stitches from one side to the tapestry needle and remove the marker. I don't need the marker anymore, so it does its job, so I don't need it anymore. So what I'm doing, as you can see, I'm taking the stitches from the circle needle to my tapestry needle. That's the easiest way to transfer that the stitches from one side to another to begin the seaming process. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking them and we're done. So we finished with the circle needle finally, and now it's time to close the opening or the upper part of my hat. And as you can see, I have a nice opening and I have a little bit of gaps because the number of the stitches is like few numbers. It's about 8 stitches or 9 stitches, I can't remember. But what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take my needle and insert it to the stitches that I have. As you can see, I still see the stitches, so you can use them and insert your tapestry needle inside each one in a circular motion, just like that, and close the gap and this like opening at the top of your hat, and in the same time like fill the gap that you have on your hat. Of course, if you have a larger number of stitches, if you stop in the second row of decreasing, that will be more than enough to close all these gaps. But for me, because I decreased it for the third row, I'm seeing these little gaps that I don't like. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in a circular motion inside every stitch for about like 3 or 4 times to fill the gaps and make it look beautiful, and in at the same time secure the up top opening, so I am pretty sure it will not go anywhere. It will not like open and it will stay secured forever. So as you can see, it began to be a little bit like nicer, but I still have a little bit of gaps, so I'm gonna go for another round to fill these gaps. Okay, as you can see, it looks so beautiful now, and so beautiful, and the gap is filled and the top is secured. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take my tapestry needle inside the hat itself to the other side, to the wrong side of my work. So in the inner side, I'm gonna secure the yarn and make about 2 knots to make sure it's in place, sit in place, and it will not go anywhere. So that's what I'm gonna do right now on the wrong side of my work. And as you can see, this is the inner side or the wrong side. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna just make about 2 knots to secure the yarn. As you can see, I secured the yarn and everything looks beautiful on the wrong side of my work. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna hide the tail at the beginning of my work. Because it's really small, I'm gonna show you how to do it, because we're gonna make the work just like that. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna flip it to the right side and hide the tail in the right side, not on the wrong side. So because now the right side will be the wrong side when we flip the rim and make it like, when we wear it, we flip the rim because it's really long hat. That's the point of doing it very, very long. And now I'm using, as you can see, I'm using a crochet hook to hide it as you can see. I don't know how to explain it, but I think you can understand. I'm taking it inside some of the stitches of the pattern, the ribbed pattern that we have here, and take it in. Again, I'm gonna go like in and out, or like in a U shape inside the work. So I'm hiding the tail inside the pattern so it will not be obvious, and in the same time it will be secured when we go go up and down. Okay, I'm gonna show you here. I'm gonna go to the right side, the other side of this pattern, and just go like this. Okay, I think the picture is like obvious, and take my tail and take it out just like that. So as you can see, it's hidden the pattern. It will not be obvious at all, and in the same time it's secure. As we go up and down, when we wash it, do anything, it will stay in, it will not come out, and everything will look beautiful and neat. As you can see, it's hidden, you can see it. And now I'm gonna cut these little pieces, and there's no tail, and it will stay in and it will not go anywhere. And for this long tail, I'm gonna just leave a little bit of it and cut the rest of the yarn, and basically it. And this is it for this tutorial. I really hope you like it, and of course I hope it was easy for you. And as usual, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and share the video with your friends if you like it. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. These links will be in the description box down below. And don't forget to hit the bell button so you have a notification every time I upload a new video on my channel. And I'm gonna see you soon in my next video. I love you so much. Bye.